Hey guys, so today we're gonna do kind of like a little chatty video, and I want to talk about this experience that I've been having as a writer that I've never had before. So if you don't know anything about me, hi, my name is Carson. I am a senior at the University of Connecticut, and I am what is called a university scholar. What that means is that I applied to this program and I got into it, and me and 20 odd kids in my graduating class are doing 3 semester-long projects where we're working with a team of faculty and sort of pursuing our own research that is supposed to be above and beyond what normal people do at school. So for my University Scholar project, I'm working on my second novel, Might, and I'm sure you've heard me talk about it here on this channel. All of my Camp NaNoWriMo vlogs are me drafting Might. Spoiler alert, I didn't win, and I also didn't finish drafting it. I'm actually still on Act 1. That's okay though, things happen. Now that I'm back at school, part of this project is working with my main advisor, who's a creative writing professor. I don't know why I stuttered over that word. She's a creative writing professor, and we meet every week, and every week she gives me this packet of some of my chapters that she's read and given me feedback on, and it is so weird. It's really hard, and at the same time one of the best experiences I've ever had, because I've never had an experience where somebody read my work and was then giving me feedback on it in sort of a more professional way. If you've had beta readers, then I'm sure you know what I'm talking about when you had your first beta reader, or if your mom read it and gave you feedback. It's just a very surreal thing, and I think it's even more amazing to have somebody who has written her own novels and knows the craft to talk about my story and my people like they're real. And it almost it makes me want to cry, because when I go in there, every time she's talking about my characters like they're people, and she can't wait to see what Hemming's going to do, and Haley felt a little off in this chapter, and it's just so cool. I think with this process though, it's taking me a little bit to learn how to respond. And you'll have to let me know if you had the same experience, if you've had people who have read your stuff, and especially if they've given you feedback in person, because every time she asks a question of the text, and I understand that she's not necessarily asking me this question, she is asking my chapter this question, she's asking my book this question, not necessarily me as a writer. She's looking for it from the text, is what I'm trying to say. The writing is supposed to answer her question, not me, because when other people read the book, I won't be there to answer their questions. So we kind of want all of that conveyed from the chapters. And it's very, very hard for me, because I just want to answer all the questions, or I want to say that'll be answered later in the book, or that has to do with this other thing. And really I need to learn to take her feedback as something that is valuable, because it definitely is. And what she is telling me is her experience as a reader. I have experience as the author of the story. That is not the same thing. I know what's going to happen because I wrote it, and she doesn't know what's going to happen because she's reading it. So even though I know that that's going to be answered, if she has a chapter where she feels like everything she got out of it was unanswered questions and nothing progressed, and by that I mean my character didn't progress or the plot didn't progress, and it has a whole bunch of unanswered questions, then that chapter's not doing its job. I need to go back and make sure that that chapter to a reader has a point, has a purpose to being in the story, because it's okay to have unanswered questions. And even listening to her giving me feedback, there are some things that she talks about where I say, yeah, I'm not going to answer that right now. That's not going to be answered this early in the story. It's fine to have unanswered questions, but the reader needs to get purpose out of everything that you're writing, because if they don't, then why are they reading it? So it's been kind of a learning curve trying to adjust my expectations to getting feedback from somebody else and taking that feedback for all of the value that it has, while also maintaining my goals and my vision as the author of the story. And I'm still working on that. We've been doing this for about 4 weeks now, I think. But it's just kind of a surreal experience, and I wanted to talk about it and document my feelings on it, because it's not an experience that I've ever had before. I've never given my story to anybody else before, and I've especially never given my story as a first draft, which, if you read other authors' comments on that, and if you watch other YouTubers, they always say don't give your first draft out to people, and I agree with that, because my first drafts are a hot mess, and especially the beginning. Like, it's really hard for me right now when she's going through the first couple of chapters, because I know that they're rough. And there's so many things that I want to fix with those chapters that I didn't get to fix before I gave it to her. Like, for me, it's kind of like the beginning of an essay. I don't know if everybody does this, but like, I write my introduction because you have to, but then by the time I get to the end of the essay, I know what I actually want to say in the introduction, and most of the time I scrap what I had written before and write it all over again. So that's kind of what the first chapters of my book are like for me. Not necessarily that I scrap them, but that by the time the story is over, I know the characters so much better, and I know how I want to portray them in the beginning. Whereas when you're first starting out on your first draft of a project, you don't really know who your characters are yet. You can have as many character profiles and Pinterest boards as you want, but you don't know who they are. And it's really hard for me to be giving her these things that I haven't edited yet, and for the most part I haven't read since the beginning of July. And she's giving me this feedback, and it's stuff that I know is wrong with my writing, but it's still like gets to me, you know? Like, I know that I haven't given enough detail for the setting yet, because I haven't done all of the research for the setting yet. And I know that my characters don't have physical descriptions, or don't have a lot of physical description, because I didn't know what they looked like yet. I just had to start the plot and fill in those other things as I went along, but I needed to start the skeleton. So it's been difficult. But so amazing, and my professor is so sweet, and I love working with her, and I'm having a really good time, even though this video sounds like I'm complaining. So I just wanted to sort of document my experience, what's going on with me right now, and to have this to look back on. If you are in the same situation as me, or maybe not the same situation, but if you're having somebody read your work for the first time and give you feedback on it, I would just say to look at everything holistically, look at all of the comments that they're giving you, and not right then, because it's very hard to do right then, but go back to the work and see how many of those comments hold water, because I guarantee a good many of them will. And if you don't feel like they hold water, then see why you don't feel like they do, because no matter what the feedback is, it's valid as a different perspective to help you gain insight on your story. So that would be my advice. Obviously, I have only been doing this for a couple of weeks, so I am not the end-all be-all on advice for this thing. Let me know down below if you had a similar experience to me when you gave your work to somebody to read for the first time, or if nobody's ever read one of your first drafts, let me know, because it's scary and it's hard to give her my baby and then watch her say that parts of my baby are ugly. So I would love to commiserate with you guys in the comments. If you want to see more writing and reading content from me, please subscribe down below. I'm excited for Preptober and getting Preptober videos out for you, and I have a really fun vlog that I'm filming right now for you guys to see. And I also have, obviously, NaNoWriMo content coming in a couple of months. So subscribe if you want to see all of that goodness that is going to be coming your way. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.